Shalom. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakah, Kodash. Double honors goes out to the elder apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me this truth. Also want to acknowledge all the Akyam for pushing this truth with sincerity, all right? So, I just, going to do a quick one. I'm over here at the plantation, and basically through the Spirit, I went into the world, or I'm going to go into the world Whirlwind, which we know the whirlwind is another metaphor for the so-called UFO, the chariot, okay? So, let's look up the word whirlwind real quick in the blue letter. Let's see. So when you go into the blue letter, let's see here. Whirlwind, let me see. Oh, Slovakia. But yeah, the whirlwind is another metaphor for the chariot. All right. The so-called UFO. And let's see. Okay, here we go. So in Hebrew it's supa. And then in let's see there's no Greek word for whirlwind. At least it's not coming up. And see the English equivalent, it means wheel, heaven, rolling thing. A whirlwind here is talking about tempest. And a tempest is a storm, just like that says right there, a supa in Hebrew. Let's see if we can get it.
Strong's H 5492. Sufa.
All right, so you got sufa, all right? And that's just how you say whirlwind in Hebrew. Let's see what the Strong's info says. So yeah, the tempest. When you go into that word tempest, it literally means a storm, because that's that day of wrath. It's going to be a storm, like a thunderstorm. And part of that thunderstorm is going to be the chariots, the so-called UFOs. But let me go back to whirlwind, and then we're going to read some verses, all right? So now that you have that understanding that the whirlwind is a so-called UFO or a chariot of Yahweh, now you under better understanding. This is 2 Kings 2:1, and it came to pass when Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai would take up Elijah into heaven by a whirlwind, that Elijah went with Elisha from Gilgal. And let's just keep reading what they have here. And it came to pass, as they still went on and talked, that, behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire. Horses are a metaphor for the, horsepower. So, our Savior, our Hamashiach, Yahushai, is going to come back on a power, with great power and glory. Part of the power is dealing with the chariot and its horsepower, right? Even in Babylon, America, you measure a vehicle's power by its horsepower, okay? That's why it says horses of fire, and parted them both asunder, and then Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven. All right, and if you read that chapter in Kings, 2 Kings 2, it shows you that Elisha, who was Elijah's protege, if you will, Elisha asked Elijah for a double portion of Elijah's faith. And Elijah said, man, that's a hard thing you've asked for. But if you see me going up in the whirlwind, then you're going to be granted that double portion of faith. But if you don't see me, it won't happen. And I've spoken on this in the past, where whenever you see a chariot, that builds your faith. So sure enough, when Elijah went up in the whirlwind into heaven, well, guess what? Elisha witnessed it. He saw him going up in the chariot, and then after that, he started praising it. Let's get it real quick, since I'm talking about. So let's see. Salakia. Okay, here we go. Well, I'm looking for the verse that says the chariots of Israel. All right, let's see. Go to, because that chariot of fire, that wheel, that we read about, that's what some of these chariots will appear as wheels, or they've been called chariots of fire. When you say those words, chariots of fire, people who have a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of understanding, they consider the so-called UFOs, the chariots of fire. When Christopher Columbus, which his real name is Christopher Colon, when he was coming to the Americas, he saw the chariots and he called it St. Elmo's fire. All right. So let's see. The verse I was looking for. Salakia. Okay, well, I can't find the verse I'm looking for in the blue letter, but it's basically, Elisha called them the chariots of Israel, all right? Let me see if it's in 1. Let's see. Let's go to 2 Kings 1. Oh yeah, this is going into right before he went up in a chariot. Look what he did, and this is spirit, because the blue letter highlighted it when I touched it. So I'm going to read it. This is 2 Kings 1:12. It says, "And Elijah answered and said unto them, If I be a man of Yahweh, let fire come down from heaven and consume thee and thy 50. And the fire of Yahweh came down from heaven and consumed him and his 50. So he killed 50 men with fire, calling fire down from heaven. All right, and then the very next chapter, he got taken up in what you would call a so-called UFO. All right. So, the men of the Lord are going to gain these spiritual powers in these last days. And, the chariots, the chariots are just going to be off the chain, man. The more you read about these chariots, and, there's brothers that post chariots that they record, at the camps, or, just random posts of chariots. They build our faith, okay? Just like they did with Elisha, all right? So let me see. I'm just trying to see if we can pull out some more verses. Okay, here we go. This is Ezekiel 1:4. "And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, and a fire enfolding itself, and a brightness was about it, and out of the midst thereof as the color of amber, out of the midst of the fire." See, so this is a so-called UFO, man. Because remember, the cloud is the chariot, So these whirlwinds are part of the plagues of Babylon. All right, let me see here. Let me see. Let me read this one. Amos 1:14. "But I will kindle a fire in the wall of Rabbah, and it shall devour the places thereof with shouting in the day of battle, and a tempest in the day of the whirlwind. All right, so the day of the whirlwind, man, is going to be the day when Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai visits the earth in them chariots, man. It's about to get crazy, you know? It's about to get crazy. This place is going to be destroyed. That's why Esau Edom started his space force, man, because he knows about the chariots. They have videos on the chariots. NASA has witnessed angels getting off the chariots. You know, they closed YouTube down to hide this. You see, they closed the YouTube down for, I believe it was around 4 hours last year. I believe it was in 2020. You know, so that's what it is, man. These whirlwinds are referring to the chariot. And the chariot is going to be a plague to the wicked, which is part of Israel, the 2/3, and it's going to be a plague to all the heathen, all the other nations that are not Israelites. This is your future. You know, you're gonna, the whirlwind is just gonna get your ass. You know, and let's you know what, through the Spirit, let's just pull out a UFO, a chariot video. All right. Let's see. You got to type it in as a UFO video, because we're in Babylon. You can't look up whirlwind. It's not going to show you the chariots. Let's see. Videos. Wow. Let me see. I just want to get something quick and basic. You know, because Esau Edom, hey, they've seen, you know, Esau Edom has seen plenty of chariots. Let's just see what this video does through the Spirit. Okay, so that's just a photo. You know what? Through the Spirit, let me look up the brother that posts the videos all the time of the whirlwind, of the chariot. But I mean, these chariots, Esau Edom knows about the chariots, man. And many people have witnessed so-called UFOs, all right, including me, all right? And I haven't seen no whirlwinds, no chariots until I started learning this truth, all right? So let's go to Slovakia. Let's see. Okay, so I can't find it that way. Let me just... Let's see if we can find one that looks like a whirlwind, because you're going to find plenty of chariots. Let's see. Through the Spirit. Hey, that's a chariot right there, you see? That's a huge chariot. So he makes the cloud his chariot, and also the whirlwind, and also the chariot. These are all parables, metaphors for the so-called UFO. Let's go get that. Psalm 68:34 through the Spirit. It popped up. We'll go see what it says. Psalm 68:34. And it reads, "Ascribe ye strength unto Yahweh, his excellency over Israel, and his strength is in the clouds." See, the chariots, man, the clouds. You know, you go to Psalm 104:3, that tells you the cloud, he makes the cloud his chariot. Like we always tell you, the cloud is the chariot. The fire, chariots of fire is the chariot. Cloud by day, fire by night, you know. and also the whirlwind, So, like I said, just wanted to do a quick lesson on the whirlwind, on the chariot. But with that, and again, really quick, the chariot, the whirlwind, is going to be a curse to the wicked, and it's going to be the salvation of the elect. All right. Let's go to real quick one verse over here in Wisdom of Solomon. It's a verse that we bring out a lot, but through the Spirit, haven't brought it out in a while. But let's see. Wisdom of Solomon 5:2. And this is speaking about the men going up in the chariots, all right, and the salvation of the nation of Israel, the 1/3 and the elect, the prophets. When they see it, they shall be, Wisdom of Solomon 5:2. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they looked for. So they're not expecting the men of the Lord to go up in chariots, so-called UFOs. They're used to thinking that that's a green alien. No, it's actually a so-called black, dark-skinned man, with a big afro. The angels have big afros, and they're in those whirlwinds, in those chariots, all right? And those are going to be the salvation of the 1/3 in the nation of Israel, who gets taken up during the nuclear World War III, all right? With that, I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahushai Ba'Shem Barakah Kudash. Double honors goes out to the elder apostles, the great millstone, for teaching us the truth. Also want to acknowledge all the Akyam for pushing the truth with sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. Shalom to the elect.